Alright, equations of circles. The standard form. Of the equation of a circle. With the center at HK and radius R is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. The letter x in the formula remains constant, and so does the letter y. What's in the position of the h and what's in position of the k will change based on where the center of the circle is. Whatever the radius of the circle is goes right here on the right side of the equal sign, and it gets squared. Okay? So it's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So the types of problems that you'll see today will say, write an equation of each circle. If you're told that you'll be given a center and you'll be given a radius. Alright, so if you're given a center of 1, negative 8, and you're given a radius of 7, and you're asked to write the equation, you start off left parenthesis letter x. Now, do you see how the formula, the standard form of the formula, says x minus h? That also means x and the opposite of h at the center. So the opposite of this coordinate, of this 1, goes right here. So this goes negative 1 squared. So it's x minus 1 squared plus left parenthesis, letter y. And now in here with the y goes the opposite of the y value at the center. So you got a negative 8 at the center, so you get a positive 8 in here. And it gets squared. And then that's equal to the radius squared, r squared. And 7 squared is 49. That is an equation of a circle with a center at 1, negative 8 and a radius of 7. Let's do one with a center at 0 and 4. Radius is 3. So since your x value at the center is 0, you just get an x squared. All right? You don't write x minus 0 squared. So it's just an x squared plus y and the opposite of the y value at the center. So that's minus 4. And it's squared. And that's going to be equal to the radius squared. And 3 squared is 9. Try this one on your own. Try the center is at 4 and negative 1. And now it's got a diameter equal to 8. Diameter is twice as big as the radius, right? So write that equation on your own, please. And when you're done, look up and check it, and I'll do it without saying anything. Anybody get x minus 4 squared plus y plus 1 squared equals 16? Good. Try one more here. Try the center is on what's called the origin. The origin, that is the x, that's where the x and the y on the coordinate plane meet. The coordinates at the origin are 0, 0, aren't they? And let's say that the radius, the r, is equal to the square root of 10. Alright, so we've already treated an x coordinate at the center with 0. Now you got an x and a y at 0. So try it and see what you get. Anybody get x squared plus y squared equals 10? Alright, well done. The square root of 10 squared is regular 10. The square root of any number squared is the number that's under the radical. Alright, so turn the page. Let's look at the next example 2 on the top of page 758. Now you're asked, write the equation of the circle with center, negative 2, 4. Write the equation of the circle. Write the equation. Of the circle. Now you're going to be given the center. Alright? So this has a center at negative 2, 4. That passes through negative 6, 7. So what they're giving you now is the center of the circle, and then they're giving you another point on the circle, which is negative 6, 7. So if they're giving you the center and they're giving you a point on the circle, you have to find the distance between those 2 points, and that number will be your radius. Okay? So in this case, the radius will be equal to the distance formula, which is the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So, if you label your points, this negative 2 is your x sub 1, and the 4 is your x sub 2. No, it's not. It's your y. Boy, that was stupid. The negative 2 is your x sub 1. The 4 is your y sub 1. It's the x value and the y value at the first point. That's what the 1's for. At your second point, you've got an x sub 2 and a y sub 2. That's your x and y value at the second point. The center is your first point. The point on the circle is your second point. So then you can substitute. So your radius is going to be equal to the square root of, you got negative 6 minus negative 2 squared plus 7 minus 4. And that's squared. So negative 6 minus negative 2. That's negative 4. And you got to square it. That's 16. Plus, you got 7 minus 4, which is 3, squared is 9. So you've got the square root of 25 as your radius, and the square root of 25 is equal to 5. So you had to do all that work to get the radius of this circle. So look, the equation of this circle is x, and then the opposite of the x value at the center. Here's your center. So it's going to be x plus 2 squared plus y, and the opposite of your y value at the center. So y minus 4 squared equals the radius squared, and 5 squared is 25. So there's your equation of that circle that had a center at negative 2, 4, and it had a point on the circle, negative 6, 7. All right, let's do one more of those. Write an equation of a circle with center. This one's got a center at negative 3, negative 5. That passes through 0, 0. So in this case, your radius is going to be equal to the square root. Here's your x1 and your y1. This is your x2 and your y2. You're going to use that distance formula again. It's the square root of your x sub 2, 0, minus your x sub 1, which is negative 3, squared, plus your y sub 2, which is 0, minus your y sub 1, which is negative 5, squared. So 0 minus negative 3 is 3, squared is 9, plus 0 minus negative 5 is 5, squared is 25. And 9 plus 25 is 34. So the radius would be equal to the square root of 34. So 34 square root, let's see, second square root, 34. 5.8. Alright, so the equation of this circle is going to be x, and the opposite of the x value at the center. So it's going to be x plus 3 squared plus y, and the opposite of the y value at the center. So y plus 5 squared. And if the radius is equal to 5.8, when you square it, you're going to go back to this number 34. So this is going to be equal to 34. Because if the square root of 34 is 5.8, then 5.8 squared is equal to 34. Okay? Alright, so there's your equation. So two types of problems today. One where you're given the center and the radius, and you just have to plug numbers in. The second type of problem, you're going to be given the center and a point. When you're given the center and a point, you have to use the distance formula to find the radius. Then once you have the radius and the center, you can put the equation in standard form. Alright, your practice problems for today are, they start on page 760. You got 1 through 6. And then 13 through 20. Everything's on page 760.